Tiptoe in, tiptoe out. And that's my career's motto, more or less. I'm a cat burglar. I realize that makes me sound more like a cartoon character than an actual human being, but it's true. I snoop around neighborhoods across the country and do my best to sniff out valuables. Finding the valuables is actually easier than you think. Hang out at a busy coffee house, and you'll hear somebody brag about their new car or boat. Of course, I don't steal the car or boat. Too traceable. Those are just indicators of wealth. It is sort of like the "where there's smoke, there's fire" saying. Once I hear an indicator that piques my interest, I tail the target. I learn everything I can about them over the course of a day or so. Then, once I find an exploitable weakness in their routine, I strike. Sometimes it's during the middle of the day, other times it's the heart of the night. Pretty much, I look for the window where I'm least likely to run into somebody. I'm not one for physical altercations. That's not to say nobody ever gets hurt. One woman, Cynthia something or other, fell into a depression after I stole her family heirloom, a sapphire the size of my fist. She stopped going to work and socializing. Hell, she even stopped going outside, becoming a total recluse. Then, about a month after my heist, she killed herself. Her parents were real broken up over it and, of course, blamed everything on the theft. At least that's what the newspaper said. But the way I see it, that's not my fault. If living without that stone caused her to take her own life, then how much of a life did she have in the first place? While most of the work I do is, how you say, self-directed, I do take on jobs for others on occasion. That's what led me to the nightmare I'm in now. The guy's name was Kirk Douglas. Not that Kirk Douglas, obviously, but I guess it's a common name. Or maybe it's a fake name. Hell if I know. And hell if I care. He reached out to me through my intermediary, Chip. He's the guy who helps me fence my goods. Chip is typically a good judge of character. And if somebody goes through the work to find him, then they're usually on the level. I met Kirk at my favorite dive, and was sipping my whiskey neat when he arrived. "Are you Mr. Reynolds?" he asked. When I nodded, he sat in the stool next to mine and ordered a gin and tonic. "Thank you for meeting with me. As I intimated with Chip, this is quite an urgent matter." I took another swig of my drink and turned towards Kirk. He looked nervous. The sweat coming off his forehead nearly matched the condensation on his cocktail. "What makes this matter so urgent?" Kirk looked flustered at the prospect of having to repeat the information a second time, but I wanted to hear it from him. As I told Chip, the item I wish to acquire is about to be sold, and shipped to a private collector. Once the collector has his hands on it, it will be nearly impossible to retrieve. However, it is now sitting in a holding warehouse for 2 days, and can easily be taken by somebody with your skills. "And why does this object mean so much to you?" "It has been an obsession of mine for a long time. The item, the box of Alhammarret, is said to bring good fortune to the person who unlocks its secret. I have a clue as to how to open the box, but the clue is all about worthless without the box." I chortled at the idea of a magic puzzle box, but Kirk's expression was deadly serious. How do you know I won't get the box and then steal your clue? So I can have all the good fortune all to myself." "Because you are a professional, Mr. Reynolds. I have done a lot of research on you. You get the job done by any means necessary, and you don't let the human element prevent you from accomplishing your task. Plus, in speaking with some of your associates, you seem to take your reputation seriously, and reneging on a deal would be quite the black eye for you." What could I say? He was right on all accounts. We hammered out the price and a timetable, and then drank to our newly minted deal. I spent the next 24 hours planning the heist and gathering the necessary equipment. The warehouse's security was middling. The floor plan was easy to navigate, and I had no problems getting what gear I needed. It seemed like this box may have spread its good fortune to me before I even nabbed it. Nothing felt off the night of the theft. The guards all stuck to their normal routines, and even the weather seemed to be on my side as it was dark and cloudy, providing me with excellent cover. I used my tools to break in through a side window without setting off an alarm. Once inside, I used a wireless device to disable the security cameras and quickly made my way to where the puzzle box was held. The puzzle box was stored in a small crate on a shelf in one of the main floors. I picked the crate up, half expected a laser to burst from it and grant me the knowledge of the universe. But instead, it just rattled a bit. I got out of the warehouse as quickly as possible, and from there, into my car parked a couple of blocks away, and then home. Once home, I pried open the crate and examined the puzzle box. It was beautiful despite how old Kirk had made it sound. It was a cube with each side about 4 inches in length. There were gilded carvings on each face, each one being impeccable without even a slight chip. I couldn't tell what the carvings were, but I assumed hieroglyphics considering the name Alhammarret. I picked it up and was shocked. I instinctively dropped the box onto the table and then checked my hands. No damage. Maybe it was just static electricity. I picked up the box again and inspected it to make sure I didn't damage the goods. It still looked immaculate, so Kirk shouldn't have any issues. I set it down on my desk and walked into my bedroom while calling Kirk. After several rings, the phone went to voicemail. I told him I did what he wanted and to call me back. I tossed my phone on the bed and sat next to it to untie my shoes. I looked to my alarm clock to check the time, but the puzzle box was in the way. I slid it aside and saw it was 1:30 a.m. I suppose it's fair Kirk didn't pick up. Then I looked back at the puzzle box. What was it doing in here? Didn't I leave it in the other room? I picked it up again, mostly to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. If I was, it sure did fool me. I shook it off, chalking it up to being tired, and went to the bathroom for a hot shower before bed. The steam felt good. The hot water relaxed every part of me and trickled over. After spending more time than I needed to in the shower, I shut off the water and pulled back the curtain. The steam pushed out like the bulls in Pamplona. I stepped out and wrapped a towel around myself while approaching the mirror. I wiped away some of the condensation and decided I didn't need a shave yet. I reached down to where my toothbrush usually sits, but this time, my knuckles hit something hard. I looked down, and it was the puzzle box again. I looked around, half expecting to see a camera crew prank me, but I was alone in the bathroom. I tightened the towel around my waist and went into my room to retrieve my phone. As I grabbed my phone, I saw the puzzle box again on my nightstand. I took the phone and walked quickly to the front room while dialing Kirk's number out again. On my desk, right where I had placed it, was the puzzle box. From where I was standing, I looked into my bedroom and saw my nightstand empty. So, with whatever was happening, it wasn't multiplying. It was following me. The phone went to voicemail again. I hung up and immediately redialed. Still no answer. I paced back into my room and the box was on my bed. I turned around and walked into the front room again and tripped. I fell hard and scraped my knee, but was mostly fine. I looked at what tripped me. There was the puzzle box sitting on the ground. My phone rang and I immediately answered. Mr. Reynolds? It was Kirk's voice, thank God. Kirk, I got your damn box and I want you to get here now. Where can we meet? Oh, that's not going to be necessary. What do you mean? I don't want the box, Kirk replied. I never wanted the box. I wanted you to have the box. I was stupefied. My silence invited more explanation from Kirk. You see, the box of Alhammarret is a dangerous relic. Once it is touched by human flesh, it curses that flesh. I'm sure you sensed something was off by now, hence the repeated calls. I was stunned. Kirk chuckled. You haven't figured it out yet, have you? Kirk continued. You don't know who I am? Okay, give me a break, I pleaded. Who are you? Remember the name Cynthia Douglas? Cynthia something or other. Her last name was Douglas. Oh, God. Good, you remember. That was my daughter you killed. I didn't kill her. You might as well have. Kirk's tone went from playful to somber. It was your thieving that caused her suicide. That wasn't my fault, I argued. Yes, I thought you would say that. That's why I didn't bother talking the matter over with you. I already knew your greed has made you irredeemable. He stopped talking and we sat there in silence for a beat. I looked at the puzzle box still on the floor by my feet. As much as I wanted to believe this was a hoax, I couldn't. What's going to happen to me? I choked out. If I was going to bite the bullet, I at least wanted to know how it was going to go down. I couldn't tell you for sure, Kirk replied. Obviously, its past holders are all dead. Some of them died quickly. Some of them lived for years in madness. There was a bit of rustling on his end of the line, and I heard muffled noises like he was talking to somebody while covering the mouthpiece. I apologize, Mr. Reynolds, but I must go now. It seems as though there has been a break-in at one of my warehouses. Nothing appears to be missing, but I think we both know one item is gone. With that, he hung up. I stood from where I fell and picked up the puzzle box. It was difficult to wrap my mind around being cursed, but nothing else could explain why this kept materializing in front of me. I figured if I had to keep it with me, then I could at least avoid any future falls. With the puzzle box in hand, I went to my bedroom and sat on my bed. I looked the box over and over again. Each side was glossy and smooth aside from the carvings etched in gold. As I fumbled with it, a panel slid on one of the sides. As closely as I examined this box, I didn't see any lines where the panels were. This one was completely hidden, as the rest likely were. However, many more there were. Maybe it was a desperation, but the thought popped into my head that maybe, if I solved this puzzle box, perhaps the curse would be broken. I made it my mission to crack this puzzle and hopefully save myself from unknown torment. More panels revealed themselves as time went on, and I slid and adjusted and twisted the box in all sorts of directions. The box quickly became my only thought. My stomach gurgled, but I didn't remember what that meant. I had to pee at one point, and I just let it go on my bed. I could wash the sheets later. I needed to solve this puzzle. The sun rose and light began showering through my blinds. It caused a glare on the gilded designs, which made it harder for me to concentrate. I shut the blinds and the curtains, but it wasn't dark enough. I put the puzzle box down to hang a blanket over the window, but as soon as I did, I felt withdrawal. My body ached from the inside. My skin felt like it was replaced by bees. I wanted to vomit. I wanted to cry. I picked the puzzle box up, and the feelings went away as quickly as they'd manifested. Deciding it was dark enough, I sat back down on the bed and dug back into the puzzle. A shift here, a push there. I kept making progress. My eyes hurt from being open for so long. My throat had become dry and cracked, but I was making progress. Ambient light from behind the curtain disappeared, and I realized it was night again. A day of my life vanished in what felt like minutes. But that's okay. I would trade away one day if it meant the rest of my life would be uncursed. After what felt like an eternity, I felt like I was getting close. And then after pushing one last panel, the box was in its original state. I had done nothing. All of this time working at this damn puzzle, and nothing! And for what? Because some dilettante couldn't go without a rock and she kills herself? That wasn't my fault. None of this should be happening. I stood up and faced the bathroom. And I saw myself in the reflection, but couldn't even really recognize what I saw. I stepped closer until I was inches away. My hair had turned gray. My eyes were sunken. Wrinkles stretched across my face and neck like spider webs. I threw the box down on the ground. It was unharmed, as expected. As the withdrawal set in again, I took a couple of gulps of water from my sink, and I could barely swallow it. But I had to make sure this box doesn't kill me. After forcing the water down my throat, I picked up the box and felt instant relief again. I took it back to bed and started the puzzle for the second time. I will not let this thing beat me.